Welcome back, everybody. Back on the CB450, the Tach drive. I've cleaned the gasket surface around here. I had to order quite a few parts. Let me show you what I got here. The housing, I ordered a new one. Well, new used one, because as you remember, this one was not only cracked around here, but this is also stuck in here. So I got another gear here. Look at how nice and easy that spins. Also, there's a thrust washer that goes on here, which obviously I never got out of there. That is this part. I have a new Tach seal, which will go into here. I also have a seal that will go around this stem here for the valve adjustment. One thing I did notice, there was quite a bit of like metal shavings in here, and if you look at the end of the cam, hopefully you can see it, how shiny it is. I think that's where those little teeth there, when it got jammed in, ate away at that. So hopefully, I still got to do some clean out on that, but hopefully this will still work and there's no damage to the cam. The other thing was the gear that ran through here. Remember I said it looked like it was bent? I did order one. Now, all the parts came on time, except that one. So it arrived in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is right up the highway on October 1st. That was Wednesday. Today is Saturday. In transit on Friday, which it was supposed to be delivered, it ended up in Greenville, South Carolina that day, which if you know the U.S., that's a long way away. It's like halfway to Florida. Then this morning, it ended up in North Carolina, so I'm not getting that on time, but this housing did come with the gear in there, so I could put it all together, see if it works. I can always swap out the gear later. That's not a big deal, well, without taking the housing back off again. Also, gasket for here. But yeah, what I've been doing now is I've just been cleaning gasket surfaces. That side's all done. I got to continue on this side. I got to give this thing a good cleaning. It looks like there's some junk inside there too. And of course the outside too. It's got grease and all that all over it. And I got to take it apart and replace that seal. So let's get to it. All right, I got the gasket surface cleaned. I got the plug out of there. I took out the gear and the little thrust washer that goes with that. That's the plug. I've got to pop this seal out and replace that, but after I pop it out, I want to give this a good cleaning before I get ready to put it all together. I'm hoping this is so easy I can hold the camera with one hand and pop it out with the other. There we go. I'm just running a tap through all these holes. They feel pretty good, which is great. Just don't want any surprises going back together. Find out there's junk in one of these holes or the threads are stripped or something. So I'll continue my way on and finish up all these. I think we'll be ready. I got to clean up in here a little. Then we'll be ready to put the cover back on. Well, the cover's all cleaned up. As good as it's going to get. Looks good. I'm going to put the seal in here. I'll do that first. I'm going to start by just putting a little bit of grease on the seal. Hopefully make it a little easier for it to go in. Just going to take a little socket, tap it in. This thing's moving around a bit, making it a little difficult. Okay, that's in as far as it will go. We have my new seal for the rocker adjustment. I'm going to put some grease on that and slide that in. I'm going to use some Honda Bond on the housing before I put the gasket on. And the reason is, I don't know if you can see right there, it looks like somebody took a screwdriver to pry this thing off and hammered it in. So it's a little beat up, and I just want to make sure that there's a good seal there and nothing leaks. I'm not going to put any Honda Bond on this side, this way. If I ever have to take it apart again, it should come off okay. Now, I've thought about this. Do we put it in the engine side first so we make sure the tabs are lined up, but then it's all loose? Or do we put it in this housing and try to line it up? I think I'm going to try to put it in the engine side. See how that works. It may or may not. I have to remember to put the thrust washer on here as well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some assembly lube and put it down in here and along here as well, and on the gear before I put it in. I had a question in the comments as to what this hole was for. And I thought about it. There's holes here too, up here. What I did notice is the cam lobes, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll have to duck you down on this one, I think. The cam lobe also have holes. So I'm wondering if the oil flows through the camshaft. Goes through this hole, and that's comes out here, and that's what lubricates these gears. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I'm not sure. I have the thrust washer on. I have assembly lube on this. See, I don't think it's going to stay there, to be honest with you. All right, let me figure this out. Okay, are we ready to try this? As I feared, this just went into here. So if we line it up, well, they did something smart there. The hole lines up with one of the slots. That's good. It's going to have to go in this way, which means turn that. This moves nice and freely. So if I put it in this way, it's got to come up. Kind of like that. All right, just want to double check. Let's line this up. As it hasn't gone into there yet. I'm getting some resistance. That should be pretty lined up. This is where it gets stressful. It's going. Will the gear line up? I don't know. I sure hope so. I think that might be as far as it's going to go. Hopefully the screws line up. We're going to have to look in here. We're going to have to rotate it and make sure that that spins. We're also going to have to adjust the valve. Which right now should be fairly easy because if you remember, I had to set it up so the valves were loose. Let me think about how I want to proceed right now. Okay, I had to take the bolts back out, pull this cover out some. I was losing my play when I pulled this in. I think what was happening was pulling this stud in and jamming it up. So I backed it out. What I did is I held this and I was tightening this. As I was doing that, I still had play. I still have to get this in. I hope everything is lined up. I still don't want to turn the engine over. Although I may be out of danger if I do. Let me get the bolts started again. And we'll see what happens. Okay. After several attempts at this, I actually did get the Tach drive to move, but the problem was when I tightened the screws down, you couldn't adjust the valve. The valve locked right up. What I think, this is my theory, and I'm going to try it, is that this washer is way too thick, the one that I got for it. It had an O-ring in it, and I have O-rings that are the same size. So I'm going to try that. Maybe that was doing something to it. I don't know. But that's the only thing that's really different. So let me put it back together and see if it works. Okay, so that was it. I play here now. The nut is on. I have to adjust this rocker. I've got 3 tight. Remember, I have to leave this one out until I put everything in there. The gear spins. So, let's adjust that rocker, put in the gear that I have, and we'll kick it over and make sure it spins out on this side. All right, after much pain, that is adjusted. The rocker's adjusted. Let me see if I can get a paint mark in there and show you what's going on. Hopefully you can see it. There's a little white paint mark on that gear in there. I'm going to push down the kickstart. And you can see that it is rotating around. Good. Now I can put the gear in here, the cap on here, see if it spins on this side. All right, another thing I learned, the thrust washer for the small gear has to go in first. Sitting flat like this on the gear, it won't go past the teeth of the other gear. So you have to slide it in like this and then spin it over onto the face of where it's supposed to ride. I put grease on both sides, so hopefully when I get it in there, it'll stick itself there before I slide the gear in. I have it stuck to the top of a tiny screwdriver. I'm going to use my light here. See if I can fish it in here. Keeps getting stuck to the screwdriver. I gotta pull a screwdriver out. Okay. It's in there. Not really lined up with the hole, but it is in there. So, because the shaft is smaller to begin with, maybe it'll fit in there. We'll have to see. Okay. We're in. Let's get the plug on here, get the bolt in here, and then make sure that this end over there spins. The worst part about this whole job is that I don't know if the gauge itself works, because I've never had the speedometer working. We're going to find out. Tighten that. Put our bolt in. Tighten that up. And then we'll see if this spins. All right, you're going to be watching this here. Will I kick it over? It is spinning. That's good. So we'll put the housing back on here, put the cover back on, the plugs in, we'll put it all back together, hook up the cable, start it, and see if it works. All right, bike's all back together. Moment of truth. Let's see if this thing will start, and let's see. Let's see. Choke on. Let's see if the tach works. It works. A little oily on the startup. But yeah, let's take it around the block. See how it does. So there you have it, CB450 Black Bomber, Tach fixed. I think next I'm gonna have to diagnose the XS1B, see if it needs a cam chain or what else is making the noise. Oh, my dogs. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.